The morning she left was ordinary, and that's what made it strange. The sun poured through the half-open blinds, casting golden slivers across the kitchen floor. Emma moved around the apartment like she always did, coffee mug in one hand, the other adjusting her coat collar in the hallway mirror. Her suitcase rested neatly by the door, already zipped. There were no visible signs of chaos, no last-minute packing frenzy. Just quiet, calculated calm. "I'll only be gone a couple of weeks," she said, sipping her coffee. "Just need a break. A change of scenery, you know?" No, he didn't know, but he nodded anyway. Liam stood there in the kitchen doorway, watching the woman he'd lived with for nearly 3 years get ready to leave for a city neither of them had talked about visiting before. She had called it spontaneous. Healing. A solo trip to reconnect with herself. Something about it didn't sit right. "Do you even know anyone in Portland?" he asked, forcing a light tone. Emma smiled. The kind of smile that usually melted him, but today felt too controlled. "A few people. Old college friends. It's not like I'm going to disappear." She laughed softly, reaching up to kiss him. "I'll call you tonight." She didn't. That night turned into a week. Texts were short, calls rare. By week 2, her phone went straight to voicemail. By week 3, Liam filed a missing persons report. At first, the police were casual about it. "Adults disappear all the time," they said. "Maybe she needs space." But Liam knew Emma. She wouldn't just vanish. She wasn't reckless or forgetful. She paid bills early and set reminders for birthdays. If she wasn't contacting him, something was wrong. He retraced everything. Their last conversations, her recent behavior, the subtle changes, staying late at work, the sudden need for me time, her insistence on traveling alone. He dug through her drawers, her emails, her social media, all void of clues. It was like she had wiped herself clean, except for one thing, a receipt, folded into a coat pocket he never saw her wear. It was for 2 plane tickets to Maui, dated 3 days before she left. One ticket was in her name. The other? His heart stopped. The second ticket was in the name of Richard Grant, his boss. Liam remembered the first time Emma met Richard. It was at a company event, Richard's birthday, some rooftop party in the city. Emma wore that wine-colored dress Liam loved, and Richard couldn't take his eyes off her. He had chalked it up to flattery, maybe even a touch of jealousy. But now, Liam stared at the name on the receipt until the letters blurred. A mixture of nausea and fury twisted in his stomach. He wasn't just left. He was lied to, and Emma didn't go away to find herself. She went on vacation with the man who signed Liam's paychecks. He sat in silence for what felt like hours, the apartment around him unchanged but now completely foreign. Everything smelled like her. The lavender in the bathroom, the faint trace of vanilla on the pillows. He walked room to room, touching what she left behind. Makeup on the dresser, her favorite book by the bed, a pair of slippers near the sofa. She didn't pack these things because she thought she was coming back, and that gave him an idea. She would come back, and when she did, she wouldn't find the same man waiting. Liam didn't sleep that night. He lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, the hum of the refrigerator, the only sound in the dark apartment. His mind replayed every interaction with Richard, every compliment, every handshake, every smirk that now felt laced with betrayal. He remembered the day he'd proudly introduced Emma at the office holiday party, watched Richard lean in too close to hear her laugh. He had trusted both of them, and now he was a fool left behind. The next morning, Liam walked into the police station with the receipt in hand. Officer Mendez, the same woman who had taken the original missing person report, scanned the slip of paper, eyes narrowing. "You said she left for Portland," she said. "That's what she told me," Liam replied, jaw tight. "But she bought tickets to Maui with my boss." Mendez leaned back in her chair, processing. "Do you have any reason to believe she was coerced into going?" Liam blinked. "What?" "I'm asking if there's a possibility this wasn't consensual. If it was abduction, manipulation, threats, we handle that differently." Liam stared at her. She lied. She disappeared. She took off without telling anyone and used me as a cover story. Does that sound like coercion? Mendez sighed, tapping her pen. It sounds like betrayal, Mr. Callahan, but that's not illegal. Not illegal, just devastating. But Liam wasn't finished. He wanted answers, proof, closure, something. So he called in a favor. Jeremy, a guy from college now working with a private cybersecurity firm, owed him one. It took just a few hours before Jeremy sent him airport surveillance stills. Grainy black and white shots, but clear enough. There they were, Emma and Richard, holding hands, laughing. She wore sunglasses and a wide-brimmed hat. He had his arm around her waist. They didn't look like they were running from anything. They looked like lovers. Back at the apartment, Liam sat with the images scattered across the coffee table like evidence from a trial. He poured a glass of whiskey and stared at them one by one. A twisted documentary of betrayal unfolding under fluorescent airport lights. His phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "We'll be back soon. Please don't do anything stupid." No name, no context, but he didn't need one. It was her, the nerve, the arrogance. Liam deleted the message and took a long drink. If they were coming back, fine. Let them. He'd be ready. And not in the way they expected. That night, Liam made 2 calls. One to a friend at a local news outlet, a small publication, but with decent reach. The second to a lawyer he'd only spoken to once before, a sharp woman named Elena Foster. He told her everything. The disappearance, the lies, the photos, the suspicious relationship with his employer. "Elena," he asked quietly, "what happens if I file a report claiming my girlfriend was taken against her will?" She paused. "Well, if there's reasonable doubt, meaning you believe she was missing and she left without notice, the case could be open as a potential abduction or manipulation. That puts scrutiny on anyone she was last seen with. And what if that person happens to be my boss?" There was another pause, then a soft chuckle. "Then your boss is about to have a very inconvenient few weeks." The next day, Liam walked into the police station again, this time with prepared statement. Emma had been missing for 3 weeks. No contact, no notice. Surveillance confirmed she boarded a flight with a man not disclosed to her partner. Liam was concerned she may have been manipulated or coerced, and her sudden disappearance had caused him emotional and psychological distress. He signed the report, handed over the photos and flight details, and walked out feeling lighter. Was it a stretch? Maybe, but legally, it was plausible, and that was enough. The consequences came fast. By the end of the week, Richard Grant's accounts were frozen pending investigation. His office at the firm was sealed. Liam played dumb when asked by coworkers. "I haven't heard from him." He'd say, shrugging, "Strange, right?" Strange indeed. He expected Emma to come home furious. Instead, she came home quiet. No luggage, no tan, no traces of the beach. Just her, pale, tired, and annoyed. "You filed a what?" she hissed. Liam folded his arms. "A missing persons report. You vanished. I thought something had happened." She narrowed her eyes. "You knew where I was." "No," he said calmly. "I found out. Big difference." She scoffed. "This is insane. You ruined his career." He stared at her. "You ruined my life." Emma hadn't her mouth to speak, the cold reception, but no words. Or maybe she had, just silence, but hoped her usual charm would disarm him. Liam watched her quietly from across the room. She was wearing the same gray coat she'd left in, but her eyes were different, less confident, slightly nervous. She looked around the apartment, like she didn't recognize it anymore. "Where's my stuff?" she asked, scanning the space. "Gone," Liam replied without emotion. "Gave it away." Her jaw dropped. "You what?" "To people who needed it more than you. Homeless shelters. Donation bins. Some of it just ended up in the trash." Emma stared at him like he'd slapped her. "That was my life." "No," Liam said slowly. "That was the lie you built in my life." She took a step forward. "You're being dramatic." "Am I?" he said. "Because from where I stand, you vanished for weeks without a word. I filed a missing persons report. I searched the city. I was sick with worry. And you were sipping cocktails with my boss." Emma folded her arms. It was a vacation. It was betrayal. She looked away, silent. He studied her carefully. No apology, no regret, just irritation that he had made her actions inconvenient. What was the plan? He asked. Come back? Pretend nothing happened? Emma's eyes flickered. I thought maybe we could talk. Liam laughed bitterly. You didn't want to talk before you left. Why now? Because you turned this into a scandal, she snapped. His account are frozen. He might lose everything. And you think I'm the villain? Liam asked, incredulous. You lied to my face. You disappeared. And you're angry I reacted? She opened her mouth, closed it again, then whispered, I didn't mean for it to go this far. Liam walked past her toward the kitchen. That's the thing with lies, Emma. They always go farther than you expect. That night, she stayed on the couch. Liam didn't speak to her. He didn't care where she went next, only that she didn't stay here long. By morning, she was gone again. This time, he didn't report it. Over the next few days, the firm buzzed with rumors. Richard was under review. Emma was on personal leave. Liam played his role, the grieving boyfriend who had no idea what was happening. He said all the right things, smiled at the right moments. But underneath, he was focused, plotting. And the next step in his plan required one more piece. He met Elena Foster in her office. She greeted him with a raised brow. You know, not many people follow through with something like this. She said, You're unusually committed. I've been humiliated, Liam replied. I'm not going to take it lying down. Elena leaned back. Then tell me what you want next. I want him to feel it, publicly. I want her to know she backed the wrong man. I want every move they made to burn. Elena nodded slowly. We can build a case. Defamation, emotional distress, professional sabotage. The missing person angle will hold up just long enough to stall his business operations. But it's risky. I don't care. And expensive. I'll find a way. Elena smiled. Then let's get started. Back at home, Liam walked into his now half-empty apartment. The silence was no longer painful. It was cleansing. He poured a drink and sat by the window, watching the city lights flicker below. He wasn't a monster, but they had made him into something new, and he had no intention of being the quiet one anymore. News traveled fast. By Monday, the office was buzzing like a disturbed hive. The whispers started before Liam even stepped through the door. Did you hear? His accounts are frozen. Some kind of police investigation. The same co-workers who had once idolized Richard now looked at him like he was radioactive. Emma hadn't returned, and her name was only mentioned in hushed tones near the coffee machine. Liam kept his head down, his face unreadable. But inside, he savored every moment. He passed Richard's office on the way to his desk. The door was shut, the blinds drawn. For a man who thrived on power and visibility, isolation was its own punishment. He wondered what their vacation had been like. That first night on the beach, the thrill of secrecy, the illusion of escape. He wondered if it was still worth it to them. Because now, the consequences had caught up, and this was only the beginning. Later that day, Liam received a discreet email from Elena. Subject, movement. Initial inquiry triggered account freeze. Surveillance matches confirmed. Interview requests filed. Will update. Liam closed a message with a sense of grim satisfaction. The lie had started unraveling the moment she boarded that plane. And now it was all spiraling. That evening, Liam stood in the apartment he once called home and stared at the bare walls. The memories had faded. The laughter, the shared mornings, the late-night talks, all replaced by echoes and dust. He thought back to the early days, when Emma would surprise him with takeout after a long day, when they'd celebrate tiny victories, a job interview, a new client, even finding matching socks in the laundry. It had felt real. And maybe it was for a while. But love doesn't vanish overnight. It erodes. Quietly, subtly, until one day you wake up beside a stranger. And sometimes you don't even realize when the betrayal began. Emma finally reached out 3 days later. A single message. We need to talk. Please. Liam stared at it. He didn't reply. Instead, he forwarded the message to Elena with one note. She's trying to cover tracks. Prepare for damage control. At the firm, HR sent out a statement. Until further notice, Mr. Richard Grayson is on administrative leave pending internal review. No additional comments will be made at this time. Liam sat in the break room when it arrived. Someone gasped reading it. Someone else chuckled. No one noticed Liam's reaction. He sipped his coffee slowly. This was only the beginning. That night, Liam visited his lawyer in person. Elena was reviewing documents. "We can go public if you want," she said without looking up. "The media would eat alive." "No," Liam replied. "Not yet. Let them squirm privately for a while longer." She glanced at him. "You're good at this." He didn't smile. "I had a good teacher." Life. Later at home, Liam found an envelope taped to his door. No return address. Inside was a letter. "I made a mistake. I thought I needed something more. I didn't know what I was losing until I saw you let it all go like it never mattered. I was wrong. I miss us." No signature. He crumpled it and threw it in the trash. Because if it had ever been us, she never would have left in the first place. The apartment was emptier than ever. Not because of the things Liam had given away, but because of what he could no longer feel. Trust, certainty, peace. They had vanished with Emma's suitcase and the sound of her laughter. Laughter that now felt rehearsed, reused, recycled for someone else. He sat on the floor, legs stretched, staring at the coffee stain on the rug she had promised to clean tomorrow. There had always been a tomorrow with Emma, until there wasn't. The doorbell rang. It was late, past midnight. Liam opened the door to find Emma, standing there. No luggage, no makeup, just trembling hands and watery eyes. "I came for my things," she said. Liam leaned against the frame. "You're too late. They're gone." She blinked. "Gone where?" "I gave them to a shelter," he said, his voice flat. "Figured someone else needed a fresh start more than you did." She looked stricken. "You had no right. And you had no conscience," he snapped. The silence that followed was ice cold. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she whispered. "It wasn't about love. It was just—" "A challenge," Liam interrupted. "Yeah, your friend told me." Emma swallowed. She had no right. "Neither did you," he cut her off. Her eyes burned with tears. "I was confused, Liam. You have no idea what I've been through." "I was there," he said, stepping forward, "for 2 years. I paid bills. I made coffee every morning. I built a future. And the entire time, you were planning a test to prove to yourself that you still had it?" She said nothing. He nodded slowly. "That's what I thought." She tried to reach for his hand. He stepped back. "I didn't come back for sympathy," she said, more composed now. "I came back because you're the only person I ever felt safe with. Then why did you run to the man who signs my checks?" Her lip trembled. Liam tilted his head. "Did he tell you about the investigation?" "What?" she asked, confused. "The police report," he said. "Filed it last week. Said my boss kidnapped my girlfriend. The financial fraud unit froze his accounts while they sort out." She paled. "You lied." "No," he replied. "I used the system. You and he used me. Now you get to watch how it feels." Emma turned to leave. "This won't fix anything." "I'm not trying to fix it," he said. She paused at the door. "You still loved me, didn't you?" He met her gaze. "I loved the version of you that didn't exist." The next morning, Liam stood at a bus stop. The city moved around him, chaotic, unaware. But inside, something settled. Not peace, not closure, just clarity. He had lost something. But maybe he had made room for something else. The lies were over. Now came the truth, even if it hurt. 3 days had passed since Emma's return, and Liam hadn't heard a word from his boss, which was strange. He expected a confrontation, a threat, even a visit from lawyers. But nothing came. Instead, he received an email. "Mr. Hart, Due to recent circumstances and the ongoing investigation, your position at the company is temporarily suspended pending further review. We appreciate your cooperation. HR Department. Liam stared at the screen. So it had begun. He knew the suspension wasn't just about the police report. It was personal now. His boss, Adrian Cole, was the kind of man who built empires by burying competition and controlling narratives. But this wasn't business. This was betrayal, and Liam had struck first. He leaned back in his chair, rereading the message. It didn't say he was fired, just suspended, meaning Adrian was still playing chess, waiting to make a move. Liam smirked. Let's play, then. That night, Liam opened an old notebook where Emma once scribbled dreams of their future. A house by the lake, a golden retriever, maybe a kid. Now those pages were lies. He flipped past them, stopping at a blank one, and began writing a list. Find a lawyer. Secure backup of the security footage. Contact financial investigation officer discreetly. Talk to Adrian's ex-wife. Watch Emma. She'll lead to answers. It wasn't a plan for revenge. It was survival, and it was already in motion. The next morning, Liam stood outside a sleek cafe downtown. Inside, sipping a cappuccino and scrolling through her phone, was Jenna, Adrian's ex-wife. He waited until she looked up and caught his eyes through the glass. She frowned, then motioned him inside. "You've got 5 minutes," Jenna said, not smiling. "I know what Adrian did," Liam said, sliding into the booth. "To you? Or to everyone?" she asked. "Let's start with me," he replied. Jenna sipped her drink. "I figured. Emma always seemed too obedient around him." Liam flinched. "You knew?" "I guess," she said. "Adrian likes breaking things, especially people." Liam hesitated. "Would you be willing to talk to someone about him? A detective, maybe?" She laughed softly. "I've already tried. He's careful. Clean. Everyone leaves a trail," Liam said. "Even him." Jenna leaned forward. "You better know what you're doing." When Liam returned home, the lights in the hallway were off. His front door was unlocked. Heart racing, he stepped inside. There, on the kitchen counter, sat a note. No name, no signature. Just 3 words written in bold black ink. "Back off now." He stared at it for a long time, then crumpled it in his fist and dropped it in the trash. The warning note. They were Liam scared. Barely slept. That meant he was silence of his apartment, once filled with Emma's laughter and quiet domestic routines, now felt like a stage for something sinister. Every creak of the wooden floor, every car that passed outside, made him tense. He checked the locks 3 times before finally sitting on the couch with a glass of whiskey in hand, staring at the crumpled paper he'd retrieved from the trash. Back off now. It wasn't just a threat. It was desperation. And desperation meant mistakes. Liam just had to wait for the next one. At sunrise, he was already on his feet. He needed help. Someone who could work off the books. Someone who wasn't afraid to dig deep. His old college roommate, Marcus, was now a freelance digital investigator. They hadn't spoken in years, but loyalty ran deep. Marcus answered on the 3rd ring. "Liam? Wow. What's the occasion?" "I need you. It's about Emma and her lover. My boss." A pause. "All right, say less. I'll be at your place by noon." When Marcus arrived, the two sat hunched over laptops, phones, and scribbled notes. Liam explained everything. Emma's disappearance, the resort photos, the police report, the suspension from work, even the threat. Marcus whistled. "You're swimming in deep waters, man." Liam nodded. "I just want the truth. All of it. And maybe I want to pay." Marcus grinned, cracking his knuckles. "Then let's go fishing." They began with financial trails. Marcus pulled up Adrian Cole's company card statements. All seemed clean until one recurring transaction caught his eye. An exclusive wellness retreat listed under a shell company. "What is Solstice Escapes?" Liam asked. Marcus pulled up the resort's info. Private island retreat. No phones allowed. No digital trail. Perfect place to take a mistress. There were 2 visits logged. One 6 months ago. One last week. The latter matched Emma's disappearance. "And guess what?" Marcus added. spinning the laptop toward Liam. Emma's name is on the guest list. Liam stared at it. Proof. Tangible, digital, unerasable proof. He felt a mixture of vindication and fresh agony. It wasn't just a suspicion now. It was real. She chose to disappear with Adrian, to live their lie under the sun while he tore himself apart with worry. And then something clicked. She left her passport at home. Marcus blinked. How'd she fly? She must have used a backup ID. Or he arranged something. Marcus nodded slowly. Then she's in deeper than you thought. That night, Liam met with Detective Fields, the same officer assigned to the missing persons case. Liam presented the guest list, the shell company info, the threat note. Fields looked at him, impressed. You've been busy. I want to add something to the report, Liam said. Adrian Cole is abusing his position. I suspect financial fraud, manipulation, and possibly coercion. Fields narrowed his eyes. That's a serious accusation. I know, Liam replied. So let's take it seriously. Fields agreed to open a financial review quietly. If Adrian was using company funds to bankroll personal getaways, it was enough to build pressure. Liam wasn't aiming to destroy a man's career. Not directly. He was just pointing the spotlight and letting the world see. But even as he made moves, something unexpected happened. Emma tried to call him. His phone lit up with her name. Just seeing it made his chest tighten. He didn't answer. But the voicemail that followed? He listened to it 5 times. Liam, please. I know you're angry. I can't explain everything right now. But I need to talk. I'm back. I'm not proud of what happened. But it wasn't what you think. Please call me. It wasn't a confession. It wasn't remorse. It was fear. He didn't call back. Instead, he messaged her. Meet me tomorrow. Noon. The old bookstore on 5th. The bookstore was nearly empty when he arrived. It smelled of old paper and rain, and the ticking of a vintage clock echoed faintly. Emma walked in 10 minutes late. She looked different. A little thinner, a little more alert, but her eyes still had the same soft gray that once made Liam fall in love. Liam, she started. Don't, he said coldly. Just tell me why. Emma looked around before sitting. It wasn't supposed to be like this. That's not an answer. She took a deep breath. He told me things. About you, about your job. He said you were planning to leave me once you got the promotion. Liam's jaw clenched. That's a lie. I know that now, she said, tears brimming. But back then I believed him. I was confused and he made me feel needed. So you ran off with him? Without a word. I was going to come back. I just wanted to feel wanted. Liam shook his head. You didn't just cheat. You disappeared. I thought you were dead. Emma covered her face. I know. I'm sorry. But sorry was just a word. And words couldn't erase what she'd done. He stood up. Don't contact me again. The police will handle everything else. Outside, the rain had started. Liam walked into it without an umbrella, letting it soak him. He didn't look back, because what was behind him was poured all night, but what was ahead didn't feel the cold. That was something he still had to walking away from Emma, soaked and empty. He wandered the streets like a ghost. His heart should have been broken, and maybe it was, but something stronger had taken over now. Resolve. She had chosen her path. Now he'd walk his. The next morning, Liam arrived at Marcus's apartment, dark circles under his eyes. She's back, Liam said simply. Marcus looked up from his monitor, and she tried to explain. Blamed me, claimed I was going to leave her. Marcus scoffed. Classic manipulation. Liam nodded. It's not about love anymore. It's about truth. I want to expose them. Both. Marcus leaned forward, intrigued. Then let's go to war. They started with Adrian's company transactions, already under quiet investigation thanks to Detective Fields. But Marcus dug deeper, using a spoof login from Adrian's assistant, acquired with some clever social engineering. He accessed hidden folders in Adrian's cloud storage. What they found was a gold mine. Travel itineraries, flight bookings, invoices for luxury accommodations, and even a personal ledger. At the top of one page, a familiar name appeared, Emma Carter. Marcus tilted the screen. He kept records. Names, amounts, even gifts. Watches, dresses. A designer necklace Liam remembered seeing on Emma a year ago. The one she claimed her aunt had given her. It had been Adrian all along. Meanwhile, Liam sold the apartment. He told Emma via text, "The lease is done. Your things are gone." She responded with a stream of panic messages. "You can't just throw my life away. Where are my things? Tell me this isn't revenge." Liam only replied once. Your life was never here. He donated her belongings to shelters and local charities. The same couch they shared, gone. The books she left, scattered to strangers. Even her old journals, shredded. 2 days later, Adrian's accounts were frozen. Not by Liam, but by the authorities. Detective Fields had acted faster than expected. The resort trips were flagged. The shell company was under review. Liam had only wanted to stir trouble, but now things were falling apart faster than he planned. Emma showed up at his door. Not angry, not begging. Desperate. "Please," she whispered. "You don't know what you've done." He didn't let her in. "Adrian's being investigated. His lawyers are coming after me," she said. "He's furious." Liam stared through the doorway. "Good." "You don't understand," she hissed. "They'll find out I knew, that I helped cover things, that I used his money." Her voice cracked. "They'll ruin me, too." Liam stepped forward. "You disappear with a man who paid you to lie, cheat, and vanish. What part of that shouldn't be ruined?" She looked at him, wet hair clinging to her cheeks, mascara streaking down. "I thought you loved me," she said. "I did," he replied. "But love doesn't survive betrayal." He shut the door. Later that night, Marcus messaged. "Marcus, got access to Adrian's emails. Want to see something insane?" "Liam, always." A few seconds passed. Then a screenshot popped up. It was an email from Emma to Adrian. "He suspects nothing. Let's just wait until the promotion goes through, and then I'll leave. We'll be free." The timestamp? 2 weeks before she vanished. Liam stared at the message, numb. It hadn't just been a moment of weakness. It was planned, calculated. Emma hadn't been swept away. She orchestrated it. "Game over," he muttered. "But revenge has a cost." Later that week, Liam received a legal notice. Adrian was pressing harassment charges and defamation claims. Emma, too, was listed as a potential co-conspirator. Liam brought the letter to Detective Fields. Typical smoke tactic. Fields said, "Don't worry. The investigation will clear you. But tread carefully. People like Adrian don't go down quietly." Outside the precinct, Liam met Marcus for coffee. "Still worth it?" Marcus asked. Liam thought for a long second. Every second. Marcus sipped his drink. "What's next?" Liam looked up at the gray sky. "I move forward. I live. And I make sure people like them don't bury others the way they tried to bury me." But deep inside, beneath the layers of strategy and payback, Liam knew something had changed forever. He was no longer just a man who had been left. He was a man who stood back up. It started with whispers. Then came the calls. Adrian's empire began to crumble like a house of cards in a storm. His name, once uttered with respect in corporate circles, now came with disclaimers and warnings. Rumors of fraud spread quickly. Investors pulled back. Partners distanced themselves. Even employees began jumping ship. And at the center of the chaos, a woman who thought she could disappear into luxury without consequence. Emma tried to save herself. She changed numbers, updated her social media, deleted old photos. But screenshots are forever, and people talk. Once her name appeared in connection with Adrian's offshore scandal, the internet did what it always does. It dug. Within days, forums had threads of speculation. Was she involved? Was she using Adrian for money? Did she set up her fiancé for fall? Even strangers could tell something was off. Liam stayed quiet. It wasn't about watching them fall, not anymore. It was about reclaiming peace. He moved into a new apartment, smaller, minimalist, with clean lines and quiet walls. No memories in the furniture. No ghosts in the kitchen. Just silence and space. But the silence didn't last long. Mr. Bennett? A knock at his door one morning. A courier. He accepted the envelope, signed, and opened it slowly. Inside, a letter from Emma. I'm sorry. I didn't know how far it would go. I thought I was in control. I wasn't. She wrote that Adrian had promised her everything. A new life, travel, freedom. But when things spiraled, he turned cold, ruthless. She realized she'd never been his partner, just another disposable piece. You were the only person who ever loved me without asking for something in return. I destroyed that. I don't expect forgiveness. But I needed you to know I regret it. Liam sat still for a long time, then folded the letter and burned it in the sink. Some things didn't deserve to be kept. Meanwhile, Detective Fields called with an update. We may not get him on everything, but we've got enough. Tax evasion, fraud, financial abuse. He's going down for something. What about her? Liam asked. Fields paused. Harder to prove intent on her part. But she's under investigation, too. If she used stolen funds, that's traceable. Liam hung up, heart strangely steady. Days passed, then a week. One afternoon, while walking past a cafe, he saw her, Emma, alone in a corner, no makeup, hair tied back, scrolling endlessly through her phone. She looked smaller, quieter. Their eyes met, just for a second. She didn't smile. Neither did he. There was nothing left to say. That night, Marcus sent another message. Marcus, I saw the news. Adrian's company filed for bankruptcy. Liam, didn't take long. Marcus, you did it. You got your revenge. Liam stared at the screen for a long time, then typed, Liam, no, I got clarity. That's better. But closure came not from their downfall. It came from a letter, a single note, in a drawer he hadn't opened in months, written by himself to himself during the early days of their relationship. She makes me feel like the world is soft again. Liam read it once, then again, and for the first time in a long time, he smiled. Because that person, the man who believed in love, in softness, in forever, wasn't gone. He'd just been hurt, but not broken. The apartment was quiet now, not in the hollow, lonely way it once felt, but with a kind of calm. Liam had rearranged the furniture, got rid of the bed they once shared, and donated the last box of her things that had been hiding in the closet. It wasn't about spite anymore. It was about clearing the weight from his life. He sat by the window one afternoon, looking out over the city. For once, the noise didn't press against his chest. The skyline didn't feel like a wall. It felt like space. Freeing. Then came the message from Julia, Emma's former friend, the one who had told Liam the truth. Julia, can we talk? One last time? They met at the park. She wore a long coat and sunglasses, the kind you wear when trying not to be seen, but still wanted to be noticed. Her expression was unreadable. I wanted to say I'm sorry, too, she began. Liam raised an eyebrow. For what? I knew about it before it happened, she confessed. Emma had been talking about your boss for weeks. I thought she was joking. When she disappeared, I realized she wasn't. He let that sit in silence. I should have warned you, she said, but I didn't want to get involved. I thought it was none of my business. It became mine, Liam replied calmly. She nodded. I know. That's why I'm here. Julia handed him a flash drive. There's more. Messages, photos, even voice recordings. She used you, Liam, but he used her too. Back home, Liam plugged in the drive. He listened to the recordings with clenched fists. Emma and Adrian talking in hushed tones. Her laughing at something cruel, he said. Plans, lies, the mockery of his trust. But he didn't cry. He didn't even feel angry. Just tired. The next day, Liam met with Detective Field again. This changes things. Field said, reviewing the evidence. If we can prove coercion, Emma might claim victimhood. But this, it shows complicity. Liam nodded. Do what you need to. Fields looked up. Are you sure you want to keep going? I'm not doing it for revenge anymore, Liam replied. I'm doing it so people like them don't think they can destroy lives and walk away untouched. That evening, Liam found himself staring at an old photo on his phone. Him and Emma, on their 1-year anniversary. They looked young, naive, full of promise. He deleted it without hesitation, then opened a blank document and began to write. He wrote everything, from the day she moved in to the moment he saw her on that cafe patio. Every betrayal, every lesson, every scar that healed a little crooked. He didn't know if anyone would read it, but writing gave him power again, ownership of his story, not the one she told, not the one they tried to write over his truth, his own. Liam never imagined his words would resonate beyond his own healing, but they did. He posted his story anonymously on a popular online forum under the title, "I was left without a word, then found the truth." Within hours, comments poured in. People thanked him for his honesty, shared their own betrayals, confessed secrets they had never said out loud. It was a wave not of sympathy, but connection. He wasn't alone, and that meant more than he thought it would. Among the many comments, one stood out. Anonymous user 87. "You're not the only one he's done this to. I know Adrian. I work for him too." Liam stared at the screen. He messaged the user privately. The conversation that followed gave him a piece of the puzzle he hadn't even known was missing. Adrian had a history, affairs with subordinates, manipulation, career-ending threats. It wasn't just about Emma anymore. It was a pattern. Armed with this new information, Liam contacted a lawyer. He didn't want a lawsuit, but he wanted a record, a formal complaint, something real. "I know you're thinking about moving on," the lawyer said, "but this might open doors for others to speak up. If this guy has done this before, you won't be alone." Liam nodded slowly. "I never wanted to destroy him, just stop him from destroying others." And maybe that was the biggest difference between them. Meanwhile, Emma had been trying to reach out. New accounts, voicemails, messages sent through mutual acquaintances. But Liam didn't answer. Her desperation was clear, not in words of love, but in panic. She had lost everything too. Adrian's accounts were frozen, his company under investigation. Her name was publicly linked to him now, and gossip spread faster than fire. She was no longer the mysterious girl with secrets. She was a scandal. One night, Liam got a knock on his door. It was Julia again, this time with an envelope in her hand. "She wanted me to give you this," she said. "She says it's closure, but I think it's more about guilt." Inside the envelope was a handwritten letter. No begging, no apologies, just a confession. She had planned to leave for months. She wanted more attention, more luxury, more excitement. Liam had been too stable, too predictable, too kind. In other words, not enough drama. Liam folded the letter in half without finishing it, then threw it in the fireplace. That night, he dreamt of silence, not the empty kind, the peaceful kind. Liam spent the following days in near-complete solitude. The silence in his apartment, once suffocating, now felt like a sanctuary. No footsteps besides his own, no second toothbrush by the sink, no perfume lingering in the air. Just stillness and space to breathe. He started running again, not for escape, but for clarity. Each morning, before sunrise, he'd lace up his shoes and let the city blur past, step after step, thought after thought fading behind him. And somewhere between mile 4 and 5, the pain started to turn into something else. Acceptance. One morning, he found Julia waiting outside the cafe they used to visit. "You know, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to be friends with both of you," she said, half joking. Liam offered a tired smile. I think sides were chosen the moment she left. They sat in silence, sipping coffee, watching people rush past. "I still think you should let yourself be angry," Julia said eventually. "You have every right." "I was," Liam replied. "I still am, but I don't want to carry it forever. It doesn't deserve that space in my life." Julia nodded, clearly impressed. "You're handling this way better than I would." "You haven't read my journal," Liam said dryly. That same week, he received a call from the detective assigned to Emma's case. The investigation had been closed. The police confirmed that Emma had left on her own volition, and no crime had been committed. His boss, Adrian, was cleared of all legal suspicion. But the scandal alone had already cost him business partnerships and his once polished reputation. Guess karma moves faster than we think, the detective had said. Liam didn't respond. He didn't need to. That night, Liam did something he hadn't done since Emma left. He opened the closet and cleaned it out, the last remnants of her presents. A scarf, a worn-out paper bag, a small, unopened bottle of perfume she had bought and forgotten. He packed it all in a box. The next day, he donated it to a shelter downtown. Let someone else write a better story with it. Weeks passed, then months. Liam didn't hear from Emma again. Not through friends. Not through letters. Not even anonymous messages. And he was fine with that. His life wasn't perfect, but it was his again. He started writing, journaling daily. Little fragments of thoughts. Sometimes poetry. Sometimes anger. Sometimes joy. It all made its way into pages that no one else would read. But that helped to make sense of everything. And then, one evening, as he walked past the bookstore he and Emma used to visit, he saw a flyer posted on the window. Open mic night. Share your story. He paused, then smiled. It was time. The bookstore was crowded, filled with strangers holding coffee cups and shy smiles. The air buzzed with anticipation and the scent of old pages. Liam had passed this place 100 times, but this was the first time he stepped inside alone. He signed his name at the little desk near the stage. The young woman behind it glanced up. First time. He nodded. Yeah. Good. First-timers usually have the most powerful stories. He didn't reply, just smiled, though his hands were shaking. As the evening unfolded, poets took the mic. A teenager read a poem about her father's addiction. A middle-aged man shared a hilarious story of divorce and freedom. A woman spoke about losing her brother to depression. Each voice added something real, something raw to the room. Then the host called his name. Liam stood. It felt like walking through water. He stepped onto the stage, cleared his throat, and unfolded the paper in his hand. My name's Liam. I was with someone for 2 years. We lived together, laughed together, shared a life that felt real. Then, one day, she vanished. No note, no warning, just gone. He paused. You could hear a pin drop. I thought she was missing. I went to the police. I searched everywhere. Days passed, and I imagined the worst. Another pause. His voice stayed calm, but his fingers tightened around the paper. Turns out, she had gone on vacation with my boss. My boss, the man I trusted. She left, not because she was in danger, but because she chose to leave. There were gasps in the crowd. He didn't look up. I don't share this to shame her, or him. I share it because I know I'm not the only one who's been lied to, betrayed, left without answers. And it makes you question everything. Your worth, your instincts, your memory. He looked up then. But here's what I learned. Their betrayal doesn't define me. My reaction does. I could have let it destroy me. But instead, I gave their things away. Sold the house. Reported my boss for what he did. Not out of spite, but to reclaim control. A soft murmur moved through the crowd. Empathy. Recognition. I lost them, but I found myself. He folded the paper and stepped away. And for the first time in months, he didn't feel hollow. He felt whole. After the reading, people approached him. One woman hugged him. A man thanked him for his honesty. Strangers shared their own stories. Quick, whispered confessions of heartbreak and healing. Liam left the bookstore that night, feeling something he hadn't felt in a long time. Freedom. A few days later, Julia messaged him. That was brave. I'm proud of you. He sent a smiley back. No words needed. That chapter of his life wasn't erased, but it no longer wrote the ending. He had the pen now, and he was just getting started. Weeks passed. The air had shifted. Spring was stretching its limbs, sending sunlight through Liam's apartment windows in golden streaks. The plants were alive again. So was he. Then, one afternoon, the doorbell rang. He wasn't expecting anyone. He opened it, and there she was, Emma, wearing sunglasses and a coat too light for the weather, like she didn't belong anywhere anymore. His heartbeat didn't spike, not like he'd imagined. Instead, there was a strange stillness, like time had taken a breath. Hey, she said, like they were neighbors, like nothing happened. Hi, can we talk? Liam didn't answer immediately. He stepped aside, silent permission. She walked in. The apartment was different now. She noticed, less cluttered, brighter. Her framed photos were gone. The old couch had been replaced. There were fresh flowers on the windowsill. She sat down, slowly, like maybe she didn't feel she deserved to. He didn't offer her water. I know you probably don't want to hear anything I have to say, she began, taking off her glasses. Her eyes were tired. No makeup, just honesty or something close to it. Try me, Liam said. I didn't plan it, she said. The thing with your boss. It just happened. You left, without a word, while I was reporting you missing. Emma winced. I know. I didn't think you'd go that far. I thought, I don't know. I was a coward. You could have said something. I couldn't face you. I wasn't proud of it. It felt like I ruined everything, and I thought disappear would be easier. Easier for who? Liam asked. Silence. I came back because I saw your reading, she finally said. Someone sent it to me. You were incredible. Real. And I realized you were already doing what I couldn't. Facing the truth. Liam crossed his arms. And what truth is that? That I didn't deserve you. He stayed quiet. Let her sit with it. She pulled something from her coat pocket. A small box. Slid across the table. Your watch. The one your dad gave you. I took it by accident. I'm sorry. He opened the box. The watch was there. Warm but whole. Thank you, he said. I don't expect forgiveness. I just needed to say it. Out loud. Good, Liam said. Because forgiveness isn't something I'm offering today. Emma nodded. Stood up. I hope life is kind to you, Liam. You deserve that. He watched her walk to the door, expecting tears, maybe even a plea. But there were none. Just a quiet resignation. She left, and he didn't feel empty. He felt light. That night, he sat by the window, watch in hand. Not as a symbol of the past, but of time, of all the ways we waste it, and how we learn, eventually, to stop. Months had passed. Liam stood backstage again. The crowd outside buzzed with anticipation. His second book tour had begun. The title? The Lie That Cost Everything. But this time, he wasn't nervous. He wasn't pretending to be healed. He was healing. The memoir had found an audience, not just those who'd been betrayed, but people searching for truth. He didn't write to shame anyone. He wrote to survive, to reflect, to understand. And now, as he stepped into the light, the applause felt different, not like validation, more like connection. He smiled and began. Thank you for coming tonight, he said. Some of you know parts of this story. Others are living it in different forms. But I want to start with something simple, a truth I didn't believe back then. He paused. The room quieted. You can lose everything and still become more. After the event, he met readers, hugged strangers, signed dog-eared books. Then, as the crowd thinned, he saw her. No, not Emma. Ava, the barista from a corner cafe who once gave him a free coffee on his worst day, who listened more than she spoke, who once left a note tucked under his cappuccino. You don't look broken, just unfinished. They'd spoken more since then. Walks, books exchanged, music shared. Now she stood there, waiting. Hungry? She asked. He nodded. Starving. They walked out together. Not hand in hand yet, but close. The city lights flickered above them, like stars that refused to burn out. Back in his apartment later, he placed the old watch in a drawer, not to forget the past, but to stop wearing it like a weight. He looked in the mirror, a little older, surer, but steadier. The man who'd been lied to was gone. In his place stood the man who stayed through the hurt, stayed through the silence, and stayed open to love, to life, to something new.